What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Unaligned and Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Jack, or the Twisted Wanderer. And today's episode, we're talking all about scoliosis and pain. Because if you're like me and have been gaslit by your doctor and told scoliosis doesn't cause pain, well, this episode's for you. So I'm going to be talking about my own personal experience with being diagnosed with scoliosis, when my pain started, and then I'll talk about how I manage my pain now, share some tips, and then I'm going to answer some questions from you beautiful people. So really excited for today's episode. So let's scoliosis into it. All right. So scoliosis and pain. Absolutely, scoliosis can cause pain. For me, it does. I've talked to a lot of people who've been on this podcast who also share that scoliosis caused them pain. And while it is true that scoliosis does cause pain, it is true for some people who don't have pain. Whether or not that lasts forever, but I have talked to people who told me they did not have pain with their scoliosis. So both can be true. We don't want to invalidate anyone else's experience, but I'm specifically talking about if a doctor tells you scoliosis doesn't cause pain, you're being gaslit, let's find a new doctor. Those are the things I don't like, they say. That one and wait and see. If you hear either of those two, I recommend, I know I'm not a medical professional, but lived in experience, I definitely recommend finding more than one opinion if either of those things are said. So let's talk about it a little bit. I was diagnosed at 13, but my pain didn't present until around age 15 to 16 years old, right as I started high school. So I feel like that's why I probably didn't pay attention to it much or care. I think I just dealt with it. I eventually went to my parents with my pain because I will say I felt like the best way to describe this is I felt like a compressed, squish soda can, if you will, like when it's just like just squished together. And it was just felt like really hard to hold myself up and just really exhausted and just in chronic pain all the time. I just remember like every day just feeling my back. Like, and now I still do feel my back now. But just, I don't know how to explain it. Just that constant feeling of just like, yep, I have a spine. I don't know if that makes sense, but just felt crumpled and always thinking of my back. Where sometimes these days, I don't think of my back. Like, there are definitely some bad days, and I do have chronic pain, but I feel like the pain pre-surgery, personally for me, was worse. Take away like recovery from spinal fusion. That's like a whole different beast. That's a different episode for a different time. I do talk about that in like the earlier episodes. That's under the Twisted Wanderer podcast. If you ever do want to go back and listen to that, I definitely detailed how I felt post surgery. And I can always talk about that more, but I digress. Specifically for today, we're talking about that pain before surgery. And I pretty much was in that pain and it just got increasingly worse from 15 to 25, which is what led me to have my spinal fusion surgery. I couldn't bear living like how I was living every day with that pain. And also jumping back to being 15 and 16 years old with pain, after being told to wait and see at 13. We kind of like didn't put it together. And then like I talked to my parents and I think then we made that connection. And that's when we started to try going to physical therapy. And I think, and I can't know for sure, I'll never know for sure because the resources I have now, me and my parents did not have. I just feel like it was different back then. We didn't like research as much. And I feel like, yeah, so I don't know. We did the best we could with what we had. But we did end up putting me in physical therapy. And I was in and out of physical therapy until I would say like anywhere from like 15 years old to 19 years old. But what I know now is that that therapy wasn't Schroth specific, right? And if you haven't ever heard of Schroth is a type of physical therapy that is specifically designed for people with scoliosis. Because each of our curves are different and unique in their own way, just like the person who embodies the curve, right? We're all unique. We all have our own curves, and we all need our own treatment. And that's what Schroth is. And I didn't hear about Schroth, really hear about Schroth until literally when I started to show up online. So when I first started talking about scoliosis in like October of 2023, and I found that through community on Instagram and just being like, what? There's this whole exercise for scoliosis and I was never introduced to it. So that was really hard to deal with. But I will talk about how I am incorporating that now because it is such an important part of our scoliosis life is what I'm learning, because it can help with the progression of the spine. Because also what I learned is, you can have spinal fusion, but scoliosis is still there and it definitely needs to be taken care of and treated and cared for. So a little late to the game, but I've learned it and now I'm sharing it with all of you. So hopefully you can learn these things sooner than when I found, because that's what I want for everyone. I want everyone to have this information. So maybe you won't need surgery. I'm not saying like surgery is bad. I'm just saying who would have known if I would still have gotten surgery if I knew more about Schroth prior to my spinal fusion surgery. But this is my path and I'm proud of the decision I did take to have surgery. But if I can help anyone out there see more options before surgery, that's my goal, because I would have liked that. I think my younger self would have appreciated. But once I did make up my mind for surgery, that was it. I feel like couldn't really go back and forth on that decision. But that decision, funny enough, really did come from finally being validated, I guess you could say. Because at 18 years old, I denied surgery. It was my senior year of high school and I was just like, fuck that. and it just, and then I just avoided it. Kind of just, I was done with physical therapy. I graduated and then you just kind of go on. I feel like that happens to us. A lot of us in the community, you just don't know, because if you don't have anyone with scoliosis around you, how do you know that it's just going to get worse? Or, I feel like I did the best I could. But again, I feel like I digressed a little there. But pain and scoliosis, it's definitely present. And it just felt really nice at the age of 25 for the pain management doctor, because I was going to go, I guess, get like steroid shots to help with my pain. And when I did that consult at 25 years old, so like 6 years, I can't do math, but 6 years after denying spinal fusion surgery, at that appointment from the pain management doctor is when I was told, hey, no, your pain is definitely stemming from your scoliosis. I definitely think surgery would be helpful for you, and your curve has progressed over the time. I was like, just crying my eyes out, honestly, when that happened. I remember leaving the office being so sad, so scared for what was to come, and just heartbroken. So eventually we got there, and it was nice to know, like, well, I've been telling you I've been in pain, and I guess it just feels nice that someone gets it. And that's like finally when I found my pain management doctor, when I finally found my doctor, and eventually my surgeon. So I'm grateful that it led me there. I just wish I had information sooner. So pretty much all that to say, like, scoliosis definitely causes pain. So just please get second opinions. So the next thing I want to talk about is how I manage my pain, because I feel like that's helpful. So I am someone with scoliosis and a spinal fusion. I have a residual curve, a left lumbar curve, 23 degrees. I need some new imaging. It's been 4 years. But right now, from 4 years ago, it was 23 degrees. Hopefully it hasn't progressed. But one thing I really, really love, and you do have to have a medical marijuana license for this, but this is something that really, really helps me. If you can see that, it's called the Fix Balm, and it's by Sotera. Yeah, Sotera, and I really love Sotera. Shout out to Sotera. And it pretty much, I have like none left, but it lasts for a really long time. And you take a little bit, and you just put it anywhere. Right now, I put it on my lumbar spine because your girl is doing a podcast and standing, so always doing a little self-care. But this balm, this infused CBD balm is absolutely amazing. It's so helpful. The scent is like minty, kind of, I guess like minty. Kind of minty, but not minty. CBD minty, I guess. And it calms you. Like I like to put some on my temples too. But it just like feels like it goes to the source, and it gives like such good relief. I love to do this, kind of put it on my lumbar spine, and then I've also been doing somatic work lately. And you just like lay down flat, kind of on your back, and on a yoga mat, on the floor, wherever you're comfortable, on your bed, and kind of just laying there. And sometimes I like to kind of put my legs up and do your knees back and forth. But this is just so, so helpful. This is my favorite thing for my spine. One of my favorite things for my spine. Another thing I like to have is a Scoli prop, this little ball. For some reason, put this on the bottom of your feet and just roll it. I feel like our feet hold a lot of just a lot of everything, like tension, and that can build up just everywhere. Because yeah, so that's one. Those are my two favorite things. And then I also really, really love to have, if you're not on camera, this is what are these called? A resistance band. And these are just good to have. Like I like to do this even when I'm working throughout the day, just using it in any which way I can, kind of just getting loose. Yeah, will work out for you guys. But those are just a few things that help me. Obviously, like heating pad. I really enjoy long hot showers, just kind of sitting there, standing sometimes in my corrective posture in the shower. That's something that's been extremely helpful with managing my pain. That is something that comes from Schroth. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And I'll put the link below, but how I started learning about my corrective posture is actually through Strength and Spine, Dr. Beth. She has a course that is, she has a course that's, I believe it's Claim Your Curve. And it should be like $29. Don't quote me on that, but I will put the link below so you guys can go check that out. You beautiful people can go check that out. It's not affiliated at all. It's just, I really, really love that course. It's what started this slow journey to, not slow, but like it's just, my own journey. But my journey to start learning my spine better post fusion, because I definitely ignored my spine for a very long time post fusion, at least 7 years. So 7.5 years. So it's just really important. I definitely recommend that course. But so you pretty much, what I do with my left lumbar posture is my goal is to stack my spine over my pelvis to kind of make sure that everything's nice and stacked over. Because if you're on camera, you can look at this, like my hand, like this is kind of how my back will like lay, goes to the left, right? So I want to stack over that. And if you ever try your corrective posture, shit is hard. So definitely give yourself some grace, because it's not supposed to feel easy. It does feel a little off because you're coming out of where your spine wants to go. Like my spine just like loves to chill to the left. It's like, it's very comfortable there. So I'm gonna leave that link below because it's super, super helpful. So yeah, pain absolutely causes, scoliosis absolutely causes pain. And one thing to know as well is pain has nothing to do with like, I guess don't quote me on this, but personally from what I've read, what I've like researched, been learning about is that it doesn't really matter the size of our curvature to experience pain. I would say when I was 15 years old, I think my curve, I want to say it was in the high 30s around 15 years old. Before surgery, it was like high 40s, 47, 48 degrees. One of them, I don't quote me on my curves. I have to look at that. But so our pain can come with a 30-degree curve, and then someone I've read someone with 90 degrees doesn't have pain. So again, pain definitely is coming from scoliosis, but it looks different for everyone. It really, really does. So, but that doesn't mean that you should get gaslit by your doctor with scoliosis not causing pain. So I'm here to tell you it does. So those are a few things that helped me. So I hope that was a little helpful. I will, I guess I can link the balm like in the infused balm in the comments. So look for that. I'll have that. I'll have Dr. Beth's course in there. And yeah. So next thing we're going to move into is twist and tell. I'm really excited because we're kicking off this segment on Scoli Sunday. So I'm going to answer 3 questions. They're anonymous. The first question is about pre-surgery. So I'd like to do a trigger warning here for anyone who may be having surgery. This is a question that I'm going to answer. And it's specifically about what I was scared about. So it says, what were you scared most about surgery? So this was kind of hard for me to answer. So I think I was most scared pre-surgery. Mostly scared about the procedure itself, like going under anesthesia for the first time. Like I was just like hot mess express, feeling really anxious. But I think to answer that in more detail, as things progressed, like pre-surgery fear was anesthesia. Then I feel like waking up after anesthesia was, I just wanted my mom. Like, I just remember waking up and crying, like, Mom. So, and like not being able to yell or talk that much because, like general anesthesia is given. So it's through, I don't have the medical term through that right now, but it just felt, I was really happy to wake up, but I was really scared. I just wanted my mom. And then as things continue to progress, I feel like my fear just shifted into how the fuck am I going to do this? Because if you're listening and you've gone through spinal fusion surgery, that shit is wild. Okay. They have you walking less than 24 hours after your operation. And I kind of just really wish, and that kind of answers the next question, because the next question is, what do you wish the doctor described more before surgery? And I really, really wish they explained like, hey, we're going to get you walking less than 24 hours. I wish they explained like how painful surgery is. I feel like they don't really prep you or prepare you for what's to come. And that's really what I wish. And if I could say anything to anyone who has surgery coming up, is you absolutely can do this. It is valid if you'd be like, how the fuck am I going to do this? But you can. Just know that you can. There are going to be hard days. There are going to be hard weeks. But you are stronger than the surgery. You will outlast the surgery. You can do this. It's easier said than done, but I just want you to know that you got this and that, yeah, I'm rooting for you. And if you have any questions about surgery, always reach out. But yeah, definitely wish they gave me more of a heads up of what to expect, because I even wish they had, like someone like myself, I would have really loved to talk to someone before surgery, just to be like, what was it like? But I don't know. I say that now, but who knows if like Jack back then would really want that. You know. And then the third question I have here is, I was just diagnosed with scoliosis. What do I do? I feel like biggest thing I think you should do if you first get diagnosed with scoliosis is to find, like I said earlier, at least three opinions. Find someone you trust, find someone you vibe with, find community, talk to people who, reach out. I feel like it's so important to know that you're not alone, because a lot of us, a lot of the people I talk to, and that you've all seen guests here on the podcast, is that we were alone before this. And if you don't have to be alone, if you don't have to not have anyone to talk to about scoliosis and spinal fusion, don't be alone. I feel like community is so important, and having someone who understands the fears that you may have or the questions that you may have really would have been life-changing for me at the time of my surgery. So that's something I really just recommend. Find the people that are gonna get you through this, because there's gonna be some days you're gonna need to lean on someone, and you'll be stronger and better for it, because there's nothing wrong with needing help and having help. So that would be, yeah, I would definitely get at least three opinions when you first get diagnosed, and just learn everything you can about scoliosis. It's what I'm doing now. Is just learning everything. Learn the types of curvatures. Learn concave versus convex. We're gonna have an episode on that. But learn your concave and convex sides so you can better understand your curve type, because all these things just help us understand our body more. And I think that's the most important part about being on this journey with scoliosis, is just learning to understand our body, how it works, and how can we embrace and love it through the journey that is lifelong, because scoliosis is a forever thing. We're not getting rid of it, and it's a really long journey to get to the point to embrace it, but I hope that you can, because you're beautiful. You're beautifully twisted, and I all think we were, I don't know, given this journey to find each other, because I think that's just what I'm most grateful for. So, well, this was fun, Scoli series, guys. I'm so excited. Okay. So before we end the podcast, I do have a few exciting things coming up I want to tell you guys about, you beautiful people about. And that is, I do have my new website will be coming out. It will be the Twisted Collective. It's going to have a lot of resources on there for scoliosis, and along with ADHD, grief, and the podcast. So look out for that. I will be promoting the website soon. It's not up yet. It should be up around April 1st. April Fools. No, but really it should be. It should be up around April 1st, and that will be our hub to the podcast. The podcast will have a link there to contact me if you want to be on the show, questions. So I'm super excited for that. And then, yeah, also just want to ask, what episodes do you want to see this season? Write into me. Let me know. twistedwanderer418@gmail.com. Let me know what you want to see, what guests you want to see this season. I just want to hear more from you, and, be able to connect via episodes and talk to each other through little Q&As like we did today, because that was fun. So look out for the website and send your questions to twistedwanderer418@gmail.com. But until then, you beautiful people, I will see you in the next episode. Next episode I'll see you on is Twisted Thursday. But I hope you have a beautiful Sunday. Till then, take care of your brain, take care of your spine. Love you. Bye.